Hello and welcome to my blog. Today I would love to share with you what the meaning of being spiritual for me. 20 years ago, I met a woman. Her name is Napata. She's a Black American, and we met in Paris. She's a blues singer, and she ended up being my spiritual sister. Napata is 20 years older than me, and when we met 20 years ago, I was a baby, like she says, and there was discussion that we had about life, about religion, about personal growth back then already. And she just asked me one day, is everybody in Africa as spiritual as you? And I never heard of that word before. And I said, what do you mean? What is spiritual? She's like, you don't know what it means, spiritual? I said, no. It's like, wow, well, what do you call it in Africa? I said, what do you call what? But it's just so funny how in this part of the world, it has a meaning and a word attached to it called spirituality. And for me, it was just a way of being that I saw my parents were, my family were, and that was it. It was the fish inside the water that doesn't know that it's in the water. Until I get out of my water, which was back home, and I moved to America myself. And then I met my husband, who's searching for himself, and that word came out again. And I said, but what do they mean by spirituality? And it was this connection with God. It was asking yourself the question of existence. It was being who you said you were going to choose to be. It meant so many beautiful things. And most of those things, for me, I grew up with them. And I asked myself, how come I could be that at 20 and there was people here who were working on it, but in a way where there was like something lacking and I have to add something. I didn't see myself that being a work until something was very clear for me when I started now working on myself, is that spirituality starts in the community, that this is a work that you cannot do alone. And the only reason why I was ahead is that my family, my parents, made sure that it was given to us because they had it. So you cannot give something you do not have, so they had it. Now, I believe when with slavery, when our brothers and sisters left home, there was a root of wisdom that was just along the way left and lost. Now, when we think of America, no one is really from here. Everybody is coming from outside America. Everybody is an immigrant. And that's why this work of looking for yourself and finding out what is your existence, what is your purpose in life, is something that is missing, and people are working on it. And when I see my fellow, my brothers in Africa and the community, how the wisdom is present, is given since young age, I said, wow, it's about time that we tied the connection again. It's about time that we create space like this where our brothers and sisters who are here, everybody that left home, left the source, because spirituality is believing in something bigger than just this body, is believing in God, is believing in yourself, is believing in spirit. Spirit being something that does not have any form. So it is not easy to do alone. So I'm sharing this so that we start looking at the continent of Africa, where we find the first human being, as the source to maybe what we're looking for. because there is something left there in living in community. And when I watch this movie, I Am, and hearing all these masters sharing how living in community brings more love, brings more personal growth, I was like, wow, this is what spirituality is. And I'm sharing this so that when you watch this show, you start thinking of this land that we all share, which is Africa. And for me, that's the motherland of the work spirituality. Because when you live in community, you being asked so much. I remember being young, and there's so many adults asking of you. And anytime you go back to your mom, she will tell you, because you have to do it, because you can do it, because you're doing it for something bigger than you. And that something bigger than you can be God, can be Jesus, it's just like, get your strength somewhere that is bigger than just this body. And that is a teaching that is very present in our community in Africa. So again, if you're watching this show, maybe it is about time that spirituality reconnect all of us with definitely the continent of Africa. And I see you tomorrow.